I'm ready for stuff anyway. As long as there's not a lot wrong with it. I saw it.
All right, everybody. Good morning, and thank you for joining us here for Fresh Start Mornings. Hopefully you had a great meeting with the Canton Business Club. As you guys know, we have rebranded 1 Million Cups that we traditionally host on the first and third Wednesdays. We are now calling our entrepreneurship programming Fresh Start Mornings. And awesome. It's really cool. I'm not used to being on like that, right? That sounds weird. Okay. Anyway, welcome to Fresh Start Mornings. We're going to go ahead and get started here. As you all know, Cherokee Office of Economic Development, we are a nonprofit that works with the counties and all of our cities here in Cherokee County to help our economic vitality of our community here. One of our initiatives is to help small businesses and entrepreneurs grow here in Cherokee County and to locate their businesses here. And so through that initiative, we have our Fresh Start Cherokee program that started several years ago, and that is what our Fresh Start Mornings will fall under our branch for Fresh Start Cherokee. Cherokee County is passionate about entrepreneur education for our next generation. It's not just about helping business owners, but it's also helping our future workforce, future entrepreneurs. And so we're here to provide a place, a safe place, an encouraging place for businesses to grow in Cherokee County. Creating that culture of community and entrepreneurship. Right now we're doing that through 3 major programs that we have. One of them being Fresh Start Mornings that you're here today. And then the circuit, all of you are familiar with our circuit in Woodstock that we partner with Chattahoochee Tech and the city of Woodstock, is a co-working space for new business owners to come and launch their new business. And then the third one is North Atlanta Venture Mentoring Service. This is an MIT principal program for business owners that are looking to scale their business. It's not necessarily for the startups, it's those that are looking to expand their production, gain employees, and grow. We have a couple of our mentors here. Jim Bolter, you're one of our mentors for that. Yes, and we have a couple people here participating in the program as well. So these are 3 great programs that we have, opportunities. We are getting ready this late spring, early summer to also launch another program called Fast Track, and it's going to be an entrepreneur program to learn about how to start your business. Is your business really a hobby or is it a business? And then how do you create a business plan? How do you prepare to go look for financial lending? So that'll be a great program to keep an eye out for. We'll let you know when we're ready to launch that. Fresh Start Mornings cannot be done without all of our community partners that we have here. We work closely with Stacy, thank you, from Woodstock, you're here. I saw Belinda and Brooke from Canton, thank you. Aaron from Holly Springs. We also work with the city of Alaska. And then our other community partners, Reformation Brewery. Thank you, Spencer, you're here today, letting us use this facility. We appreciate all that you do for Cherokee Office of Economic Development. Circle of Friends will provide the coffee when we hosted the circuit in Woodstock. And then I'm kind of excited, we've been talking about rebranding 1 Million Cups, but 2 of our sponsors have also, in the meantime, rebranded themselves. Gerald has rebranded his business. used to be Voice Over City. And now, oh, you're still that. Okay, so he has another brand. He has two personalities. The other one's Corridor Publishing. It's a new print digital media. You can see he has some magazines on the tables for you guys to view. I think he's looking for a little feedback on this new venture that he has. And then Bronson for photography. Bronson, remind me? Polar Nights IT. So a lot of rebranding going on, great things and excitement. So thank you guys for continuing to help us with this program. Fresh Start Mornings will continue to be similar to 1 Million Cups, where we'll invite new business owners to come and present, share their stories, talk about their ventures, and then gain feedback from you guys. But the new brand will also incorporate panel discussions. We'll have NAV mentors come and talk about different topics that they're finding that some of these mentors are having challenges with that you probably are facing as well. So it gives us a little more flexibility to where we can have educational, fun panels plus the business presentations. Now I'm excited to announce our first speaker for Fresh Start Mornings. Spencer Nix with Reformation Brewery is going to come up and talk. So let's give him a hand welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a seat, because I can be long-winded. I'm going to go ahead and start my pitch deck if it's loaded in. How's everybody doing this morning? Great. I was reminded today, Facebook's always good for something. Today's the anniversary of Reformation winning the Small Business Rockstar. Remember that? In 2017, 7 years ago. And I was looking back, like, all this changed in 7 years. We were a completely different business in 7 years, which I think speaks a little bit about what we're going to look at this morning as you start, scale, grow your business, and all the challenges that come with it. All right, is the slideshow working? This is it. Sorry, I get to control it. Fancy. Just a little bit about who I am, what I do. So I think a lot of you have probably seen some of this, heard a lot of this, so I'm not going to go into the deep dive of the story again. I am native to, I was actually born on Main Street, Canton, 770 Main Street, and my parents traded a house and a car for the rural area of Woodstock in the 1980s, so I moved to Woodstock and have lived all over this county, all over North Georgia. Graduated from North Georgia College up in Dahlonega. Went to seminary up in Louisville, Kentucky. Pastored for about 10 years, ministry 15 years. I call myself a recovering pastor. So I went into alcohol, which does help. Founded Reformation Brewery in 2013. And a few of the boards I serve on, and always go praise. This is really my why. I think everybody has a why. It shouldn't be just making money. Your money empowers why you do what you do. This is my why. I love the power of the community. It swallows the pride of individuals. And participating, loving, engaging, advancing the communities I'm privileged to be a part of brings personal value and fulfillment. That's why I get up every day, get to do what I do, and want to spread this to more and more communities as we go. So I'm going to give a little bit behind the curtain of Reformation. For some of you, probably seen some of this, what's behind the curtain, but we're going to go maybe a little deeper. This is who and what Reformation is. We're coming up on 10 years. We just passed 9 years in October. We'll be 10 years old this coming October. We're up to 76 full-time, part-time employees. These are some of our partners in the community. Being good partners with those that are also trying to advance and share some of the values and visions that we have is very, very important for Reformation. And those are just a few of the annual partnerships that we have. So why does Reformation Brewery exist? It exists to liberate moments that matter for the reformer and everyone. Notice there's nothing in there about products or beer or alcohol. This is what drives us daily. This is our business model canvas. If you've never done this for your business as a startup, I highly, highly recommend it. There are business model canvas coaches in our area as well. This is really, really valuable when you're starting your business. This was, my brother and I did this probably back in 2010. And then when we became a business in 2013, we stuck to it. And what I found when we evaluate this every year is this is pretty much still the core of our brand. We've defined things a little bit better and maybe a little deeper, especially our audience, but our values are the same. The core purpose is pretty much the same, though we've defined a little more. Our value proposition is still the same, though we've added more products. And we still think our competitive advantage is what it is. All right, now I'm going to talk about some of the challenges, and I've kind of staged them out through our 10 years because they've been very different through each stage of our business. Years 1 through 4, we realized, obviously before we started a brewery, that this was going to be very capital intensive. We were the 7th small brewery, craft brewery to open in the state of Georgia. We were the first in North Georgia to be regulated out of the DOR department out of Rome. So this guy had never done a brewery before. So it took us about 2.5 years to get licensed to even open. And so we had to sit on leased space because that's part of the licensing process. So it's very, very painful from a capital side. Again, as I told you earlier, I'm a recovering pastor. I didn't have a lot of capital just sitting around able to invest in a brewery. My partner did have a little bit of money, but he's a Delta pilot. They don't make that much money. So we had to find ways, and we had to get creative in our ways to raise capital because those tanks are not cheap, and neither is square footage to lease. So we found probably 4 different ways to raise funds. I'll be glad to go into any of those over coffee or a beer. Just let me know. I'm glad to share some of the things we did. We also, when we started as the 7th brewery in Georgia, you could not sell a beer directly to a consumer. This kind of venue that we're in right now would not have worked because you could not buy a beer. If you remember back in the dark ages when you had to go to a brewery, bought a tour, you got 6-ounce pours for free. Such a scam. That was all around the laws, which the margins on that weren't great, so we couldn't really locate into a downtown area or anchor a development like the one we're in. So we had to be very agile in our model. We started as a distribution model. We wanted to be distributed throughout the state of Georgia, very sales intensive, going into retail accounts, bars, stores, package stores, all over the state of Georgia, huge sales team, because that was the only way to make this work. So we were trying to scale as quickly as we could. But we also realized we started way, way too small. We started on a 1-barrel system. It's probably stuck back there somewhere. 1 barrel is 2 half barrels of beer. That's about 62 gallons of beer at a time we were brewing. And at the time when we started, who's going to buy all this? Because we came out of the homebrew world. We've been homebrewing for 10 years, and we were making 5 and 10 gallon batches, and those would last us a month. But we realized quickly we had a problem. We couldn't make enough beer. We also had a problem because nobody wanted to loan us money because we didn't have proof of concept. Again, we were early on in craft beer. So we bootstrapped it for the first 2 or 3 years till we proved the concept, proved that we had a sales model, couldn't make enough beer, and the SBA finally agreed to give us some money. And we signed away all our lives, and it was real fun. Great for a marriage. But we made it. And we're able in those first 4 years, we put a lot of money and resources into changing state law. Speaking of that, a new bill dropped yesterday. It's called the FOAM Act. Go look it up. We're shooting for the moon this year on the legislative front, looking for self-distribution and some franchise law reform, which seems stupid because every state around Georgia has these rights and privileges, but Georgia does not. So this would be a huge win. We may not get it this year, but we've got to start. And we're going to be pushing, and we're going to be calling out all of you to come help as well. All right, next slide. All right, challenges in years 5 and 6. We scaled successfully. We went from 300 barrels a year to 5,000 barrels a year. We went from 1 venue to 3 venues in years 5 and 6. And the challenges there, as any business that scales, is, and I think Jim said it earlier, don't become corporate. Because it's bigger, there's more systems, there's more processes, there's more problems. It's easy to find a box and shove everybody into the box and make them like it. But we tried not to ever do that, and we did that by always staying true to, again, back to that core brand and our values and our vision. We also I couldn't do all this by myself, obviously. There's a whole team back there in production. There's a whole team in marketing and sales. Jonathan's here. I've got a whole team doing venues. So you have to invest in others and other leaders. And this is probably one of the largest areas I see other small businesses struggle in is delegating and raising up leaders. Leadership development is a huge issue. And it's not easy. Especially as entrepreneurs, these things are our babies. These are it's my fourth child. And we love it. And giving somebody the power to run with it, feels scary. But that's why you have to find the right people. And we're always looking for the right people. I say I'm always hiring good people who share our values and vision. And that's true. If you want to come work for Reformation and you have the same values and vision, come talk to me. We'll find a place for you. We can teach you how to do anything, but it's the quality of the human that we're looking for. So this is our downtown construction. It's hard to believe that's what it looked like. That was the day they cut out the holes. That was literally the warehouse for Priest Home Furnishings on Main Street, Woodstock. My memory of that place as a child was my dad. We come from a pretty blue-collar family. He finally saved up enough money to buy one of those big, huge tube TVs and one of those wood cabinets. Remember those? They weighed like 1,000 pounds. Well, my brother and I hauled it out where those white doors were. We hauled it out of that warehouse, and I've never been the same. My back still hurts. But yeah, it was pretty cool taking something from the town I grew up in and reforming it literally into something new. And of course, everybody knows the big tree. But this was you just kind of walked by it until we finally renovated it. All right, then we got to year 7. Wow, that sucked. We developed a whole new strategy, and we started with survival. I think everyone was just trying to survive the COVID lockdown. There was no playbooks to follow. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. Definitely not us. We became fully reactive, which is not who I am. It's not who we want to be as a business, or any business never wants to be reactive. And really what held us through that was clinging to the values. And also, and I can't say this enough, was the community that we had invested those first 6 years in, and y'all showed up. I always tell this story, you probably heard me say it, but we had people coming in and buying dog collars and dog leashes that didn't even have dogs, just to try to support a small business that knew we were struggling to make it through this. We also wanted to learn. Man, did we learn a lot, because we had the toughest call I've ever made was that weekend after everything started locking down and having to put everyone out of a job. Just absolutely sucked. But through those next few weeks, we reevaluated everything. Like, as we build back, we want to build back better, and we want to make sure we're efficient in how we build. We realized when we cut everybody's like, holy crap, we can do a lot of these things a lot more efficiently than we were doing prior to that. So I say that COVID sucked. I don't want to go through it again, but don't ever waste failure or suffering. Learn from it, and that's what we tried to do. All right, back to years 8 and 9, post-COVID world. I think we're in a new world. I don't even know if any of us know how to define this new world, but people are absolutely different. Customer behavior is actually absolutely different. We have to replace a lot more furniture than we've ever replaced. We are doing more repairs and maintenance than we've ever done. And it's, I don't know how to explain that other than people are just different post-COVID. So it's a new world, there's new expectations, and what the challenge is for us is to interpret our values and our vision to this post-COVID world. As we figure out what it is, we need to be able to speak the language they can hear, so we can speak what we're about into their lives and into this community. Also, some of the challenges, we compared to other small businesses, to other breweries in the state of Georgia, we came out of the pandemic with a lot less attrition than a lot of others. So I'm very thankful for how we came out of that, and it really did position us to look at expansion opportunities. And that's what we've been doing in the last few months. I don't have it, and I was hoping to make the announcement this morning, but it's not quite ready. We are getting closer to announcing some more expansion projects that we have coming up as we continue to look at venues and opportunities in North Georgia to carry our brand and values and vision forward. All right, and in those expansion opportunities, we're not only looking at venues, we're also looking at new markets, but also new products. One of the things we found coming out of the pandemic in this new generation is nationwide craft beer is way down. It's starting to nosedive, actually. So we're looking at new products that fit our target audience and demographics. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to, this is our leadership model. I don't know, it got stuck in the wrong place. But I did want to talk, because I talked a little bit about building up leaders. This actually is what came out of COVID for us. It's an internal leadership model. We call it the Reformation Way. We're always pursuing excellence in everything we're doing, but also we're committed to efficiency. And it's not just efficiency so our bottom line looks better and the P&L looks better. That helps, but it also allows us to invest more of those resources back into the community and really support those partners that we have on a deeper, more meaningful level. So don't think of efficiency as just, well, we'll make more money. That happens, but why are you making more money? What are you doing with that money that you're making? And then we also saw that the more we empowered individuals, because we saw real leaders develop out of our pandemic, we said, let's empower these people who are showing they're willing to go above and beyond. And we did. We had people who, they were just serving beer before the pandemic, and they said, don't pay me anything, but I'm coming, and I'll serve, I'll clean, I'll do whatever you need to see us get through this trial. And those were the people we knew had bought in. And we empowered them coming out of the pandemic to become leaders in our company. And we are continuing to do that now as we have, that's pretty much my job, is trying to identify the people who are living and love who we are as Reformation, and then trying to empower them more and more for their success and our success. All right, here's some of the future challenges that we have identified and how we're going to hopefully win. We're going to focus on our competitive advantage. Again, we always go, wine you drink is more important than what you drink. And that's why, we really don't mind what product people are drinking. We're not, you got to drink IPAs, you got to like it, or you got to drink European style, you got to like it. I mean, if we only brewed what I like to drink, we'd only brew probably 3 drinks. But we're trying to find what people like, and then using our values, vision, our craftsmanship, what we've learned over the last 10 years, make that product excellent. We have a service-centric, moment, community-based customer experience. Hopefully, if you've ever been to a Reformation, you get a feeling of what that is. And we're leaning harder into that, going deeper into that. And we are looking, and we already have invested deeper before we go wider. That's very important to us, that we don't forget where we came from, that we keep reinvesting in the communities that have gotten us here, even as we look to expand into new communities. We're not leaving behind those that have made Reformation. Like I said earlier, we're pushing hard this year for legislative reforms. And I'm going to talk specifically in the next few slides about diversifying with authenticity. Authenticity is one of Reformation's core values, and I'm going to show you how we've used that to guide us into new products. And then lastly, we're identifying new communities and partners with aligned values and visions. We're always looking for new places to expand. Our sweet spot is really creating third spaces between work and home, where the community can come together, put down your phone, have a real conversation, and we've identified that as basically Main Street USA. Developments come and go. If you look at the history of the United States of America, Main Street USA, yes, it goes up and down, but it continues forward. It doesn't ever lose. All right, so as we are looking at expanding and diversifying our portfolio with authenticity, we went back to our beer family. This is our target audience, and we've gotten better and better over the years at defining who these people are. We named them. We used to have specific names, Jen and Frank, but we've just named them kind of more of what they're after in life. And those three core audiences are the wanderer, the lighthearted, and the folk-hearted. This is a little bit about each of those. We define it out. This is who the wanderer is. You know this guy. He loves drinking IPAs. The lighthearted, this is the social drinker, always fear of missing out on what's new. You probably know her, drinks a line. The folk-hearted, you're probably looking at him. Little bit of age on him, probably is fine with a really good solid lager and a good cigar and another Braves victory. Drinks a lot of Coleman. But they all have something in common. This is their common bond. They all appreciate time with loved ones. They love outdoor comfort, relaxed moments with a Reformation drink in their hand. So that's what we're trying to build, those products to fit that lifestyle. You'll see some of the product mixes. This is where we get into the weeds a little bit, but we make products for each of these targets. A lot of people go, man, you just make a lot of crazy stuff and it's everywhere, it's wild. Well, it can be standing back, but there is intention, there is strategy behind it. We're trying to hit these target audiences where they're at and what they're about in life. We do our merch the same way. This is the lighthearted product mix. If you identify as these people, you're probably like, yep, I love those. Their merch. Folk-hearted. Their merch. All right, so with those audiences in mind, we have to look at what's next, what's new. But we also have to do all of that with our values and vision in hand. And that's where we started this story toward distilled spirits, which I'm going to get to. We started it, though, with water. You'll see a lot of breweries. It's nothing new. We're actually late to the game as far as getting into distilled spirits and ready-to-drink cocktails. A lot of breweries have done it. We could have done it years ago. We were actually looking pre-pandemic at doing it. But for me, just doing it isn't good enough. It needs to have a story. It needs to have an arc. It needs to have a narrative. These are characters to me. And so we want to make sure we tell a good story behind why we're doing something. And so it started with water. I'm going to be nerdy a little bit, and sorry if you've heard this many times, but Reformation is the only craft brewery in Georgia, distributed throughout the state of Georgia, that's in the Upper Etowah watershed. The Upper Etowah watershed is an amazing watershed. It's the most biodiverse watershed in America. It runs from LJ through Cherokee and then out to Alabama in the Coosawattee. Into the Coosawattee watershed. But this watershed has more plant and unique fauna than the Columbia watershed, which goes through like 6 states out west. It is incredible. And what that means is it produces incredible water. So good that he who shall not be named out over in Cartersville, huge mega beer plant, they got more money than God. They can locate anywhere in the United States they want to. They located where they're located because they're chasing good water. They're in the Upper Etowah watershed. So we wanted to bring focus to this watershed, but also the Upper Etowah River Alliance is one of our key partners, and we were using almost all the proceeds of this goes back to UERA to help them maintain the watershed. They've done actually a good job here in Cherokee County in maintaining it, make sure it stays protected and the best water in the nation. So we canned it. We put it in carbonation, or we put it in a bright tank, put some carb on it, and we now can it. And there's no money to be made in water, absolutely zero. But our distributors were more excited about this product than any product we've brought them in the last 3 years. Because of the story behind it, bars are always looking for mixers. They're looking for something unique to help them tell a story. So we have, this year, last year we launched it, and this year we're going even deeper with sparkling water. So hopefully you'll find it. We also are using it for disaster relief because they always need water. So we've already donated pallets of this stuff for disaster relief in the southeast. The latest one, the Florida hurricane down in Fort Myers, a whole pallet of this went down there. So it gives us opportunities to get back with something that doesn't cost a lot of money to make. It's all, the packaging is actually obviously the most expensive, a little bit of water, but it's the story behind it that matters, because that gets us into distilled spirits, which uses a lot of water. Reformation Craft Spirits. We launched this brand right before Christmas, and it's very, very new to us. We haven't scaled it. This is like starting a new business all over again. We're bootstrapping it. We have a very small still, but we've already launched a few of these products we're testing them, and that's what's great about these venues is we get to test product before we go to market with them. And Blueberry Ranch Water, you guys are crushing. It was 15% of total venue sales the first week. We didn't even market it. You guys were ready for some ready-to-drink cocktails. And Blueberry Ranch Water has absolutely crushed it. We actually just, we had a moonshine lemonade, and we had a grapefruit gin cocktail. Those did great too, but this was far and above the bestseller. Now we've released a gin mule cocktail, a Cosmo cocktail. They're out in the tap room if you want to grab one of those. And you'll be seeing as we're going to continue to test more flavors, and we're actually looking now at starting to can some of this and start to get it out to the market. There's a lot of challenges there too, but talk more about that over a beer. This is our first straight spirit that we've released, gin, obviously, because people are like, well, when's your bourbon coming? Well, it takes 3 to 5 years to get a bourbon worth drinking. So gin is the easiest, honestly, and it allows us to play with the craft. There's a lot of crafting in gin. People don't realize, well, it's just distilled spirit. It's true. It is distilled spirit, but the botanicals that you can put in gin, pretty cool, pretty fun to play with. And our resident distiller, Paul Hamill from Northern Ireland, has done an excellent job getting this brand launched as far as a solid product into the market. And this is selling almost as quick as we can distill it. So we're looking at now having to scale the still to even keep up with the gin. So we're slowing down how many products are coming out until we can catch up and again scale it. You probably saw the orange liqueur came out this past weekend. We did a speakeasy event just to test if there's a market for that. There clearly is. It was a huge success. The orange liqueur was fabulous. This is, again, staying true to our craft. There's no artificial flavors or any of that. It's all real stuff. Real oranges. Really hard to find unwaxed oranges in the United States because we use a lot of orange peel, so we don't want wax on it. So we had to find a grower in Florida directly there. They're like twice as much, of course. All right, that's enough. I've rambled on. There's maybe sparked some questions about where you are in your process, in your business, and start your business. So I'll take some questions.
Yeah.
So you talk about the laws that you're kind of up against, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to focus on it this year.
Yep.
Are you part of a collective from a brewery perspective that's going to do that?
Yeah.
And can you speak specifically to, I know about, the Sweetwater and some of the stuff they had to overcome when they initially came on board, and some of the stuff you did even 7 years ago. And we've got to get to a place where it's even better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the first part of your question? Sorry.
Just can you talk to, from a collective perspective, what who you're, is it all the brewers here in Georgia?
Yeah.
What's that look like?
Yeah, there is a guild in Georgia called the Georgia Craft Brewers Guild. It's made up of, I think we're up to 88 breweries, which is crazy. We were the 7th brewery in the guild. We're up to 88. Because our model has become so much about being in the community and driving people to our venues, I knew I had to take a bigger role in the guild. So I'm on the committee for legislative reform, which is where we write bills and talk to lawyers and find the best language. And we wrote a bill that just dropped in the House yesterday, sent it 2 days ago, and let me give you the numbers so you guys can Google it. Go ahead and start looking this up. It's called the Phone Act, very creative. Fair and open access to market. It's SB 163, and it already has been assigned, and the House bill is House Bill 407, which is yet to be published, but it should be later today. And basically what we're going after in these bills is establish limited self-distribution for small brewers, remove the daily off-premise cap of 288 ounces. Right now you can only buy 1 case per day out of our venues, which is weird. Reform current franchise law. The franchise law is when the distributors actually own your brand. You sell them your brand and they distribute it in a territory. The 3-tier system's here to protect against monopolies owning all the market, but what it's created monopolies for distributors in certain territories, because you can't have 2 distributors in the same territory, so they can't compete against each other. So they have all the power, and they also have all the power at the state house. They have been given to these guys since Prohibition was repealed in Georgia, and there's only 5 families. Sorry, we're getting into the mafia weeds. Some of you probably work for this journal. Yeah, here he goes. Also, we're looking for more direct charitable contribution allowances. Right now, the way they define by law how we can give to charities is stupid, because the distributor wants credit and wants 30% of the margin. So we're looking at getting that changed, which honestly I think the distributor would be fine because it's a headache for them, but they fight everything because they see it as cracking the door. But we're kicking it in this year, and they're not going to like it. And we've got a huge fight on our hands, but the only thing we can do is empower our communities, our grassroots support to go after them, because we don't have the money. Yep.
Kind of tacking on to that, you've mentioned that you're instrumental in NAB, that you've been instrumental since the start and Fresh Start, History Cherokee. You didn't even mention that you're one of the most instrumental people in Woodstock tourism. You're one of the most instrumental people in Woodstock downtown development. I've not ever known you to say no when somebody asks you to lead, but for entrepreneurs, how do you gauge what you have to invest your time in, and what isn't enough?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I wasn't a part of the EDA or Visit Woodstock. I didn't have time in the first 3 years, and I usually tell small business owners, you need to love and care, honestly, about your community, but you're probably not ready to be on a board and lead in that way until you get a little bit of scale and sustainability to your business. But once you do, it shows your values and vision. Like, are you really here for the community, or are you just here to make a dime off the community? Are you only investing to take out? And for me, that's just never been attractive to me. It can be for you, that's fine. But I've always wanted to try to bring something back to the communities that have. And I'm a product of this community. I went to the Cherokee County Public Schools. I feel like I am this place, and I want to give back as much as I possibly can in the short time that I have to make it a better place for my kids. Because I have 3 children, and I want them to live and love the community that has been so good to me. And so it's easy to me, but I understand it is a time commitment, but it pays itself off tenfold by doing these things. Yep.
Another question for you. My husband has always managed very large, profitable restaurants, and it always makes me sad because he makes all of these people all this money. But he also knows what it takes to start that, and so he's like, I can't step away from the management of what I'm doing to start my own, because how am I going to pay the bill?
Yeah.
So you had mentioned you were a pastor. I know you had a partner, which he's always like, where the heck do I find one of those people?
Yeah.
But how did you survive, and how long did it take before you were actually earning a paycheck?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't quit pastoring the first 4 years of the brewery, and none of us quit. Nick was still flying. All the partners that were managing the business still worked full-time jobs. And it wasn't until we got to a place of profitability where we even started looking at bringing me on full-time. I was the first partner to come on full-time, and it was a decision, continue your pastoring work or go work for a brewery. It was really, really hard. I prayed for it for at least 10 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. No, the brewery scratched every itch that I was trying to do in pastoring to build community and a place where people connect. And so the brewery was scaling a lot faster than the church. And so that's the direction I took. But the first part of your comments were, he's always worked to make other people money. And that is a difficult thing for your best employees. They see, hey, I can do this. But what we've tried to do in our leadership development program is make them owners. And so that's what we do. As part of their compensation package and their reward package, their bonus package is more ownership. We're always giving away some equity to keep them invested. So they do own it. They are owners. They start small, and the higher they get more and more equity. So they share in the profits of the company, the distributions, and that's been proven to be a huge success for us, is giving the company to our employees, which, I don't have any partners in here. Eventually, I'd love for it to be all employee-owned company.
We have time for 2 more questions. We've got one right here and then yours.
Spencer, can you shout out about your artist or graphic design firm? Especially that gin model is amazing.
Yeah. The first partner we ever made was the guy who did our graphic design, which worked for Bill Grant and Ken. His name's Greg Sykes, and he was a buddy of mine. And he saw what we were doing on a homebrew level and said, let me make you a logo, which was the Reformation R. And he took all the partners. It's really, again, geeking out. It's 5 hearts, 5 partners that started this, and it's 5 hearts put together. It looks like the Luther Rose as well. Greg did a fabulous job with that initial brand. So when we made it a business, we said, we're going to make this our central logo, and we never paid you for it. So we gave him ownership. Man, that's been good for him. That's probably one of the best graphic design jobs he's ever done. It pays every year. But that's how we did it initially with the original Reformation, was through Greg Sykes, and he had worked for Grant for years, and then he does his own thing now. But as we've grown, branding's always been very important to us. We started bringing it in-house and hiring our own designers. Our gin bottle was done by our creative director. Her name is Jess Sykes, an incredible human. She would never speak into a microphone like this for this long, but man, is she talented, and I think it's the best work she's done so far on packaging was that gin bottle. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yep.
So I kind of have 2 questions, and I'll be quick. One, I own a mobile bar service, and I grew up Baptist. Yeah. So there was a little bit of struggle for me on the faith side and moving into alcohol, but I really realized I can grow the faith and I can affect people.
Yeah.
Was that a struggle for you, moving from pastoral to alcohol?
No, I went to the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, so I get it. We signed a freedom covenant not to drink, and then, there's all kind of societies, and my professors are there drinking, like, what's going on? So that, I dealt with some of those issues way before starting a brewery. There's so much to this conversation. I'd be glad to have a coffee or beer with you, talk more through it. And but for the most part, I have had nothing but support, even from those old Baptists. They've never come here. They'll never be seen here, but they'll send me notes and emails. Love what you're doing. Keep going. So it's been overall encouraging. Of course, there's a few you-know-whats, but for the most part, it's been great.
And as someone who works in a tap room, how do you support your employees other than the leadership program and keep your turnover rate low?
Yeah, we have, right now it's a huge struggle, especially for entry-level positions and servers. And it's the same challenges I think every small business, every business is facing in staffing. We have, we really pride ourselves on low turnover, especially for our industry, service industry and craft beer industry. And we still way outperform in turnover. And I do think it's because we provide them with opportunities to feel the community, be a part of the community, serve the community, and that helps. They feel value in that. But we have more turnover than we've ever had in the entry-level positions. Our core leadership team, Jonathan just joined it, but he's the newest member, but the rest of them have 4 to 10 years of tenure with us, our core leaders. So I don't know. I don't know how to keep them, but we are trying to train them, and I'm sharing all this stuff with them, going deeper in training. Jonathan and I are working on some training materials now, but we're looking to go deeper and try to really connect with them. In the past, it's been more. We found this is huge too. It's been, if we send them an email or a text, they get it, they read it, and we go back and forth. Kids aren't doing that anymore. You have to get them in video. You got to get them in less than 60 seconds and train them in less than 60 seconds, or they just move on to something else. So that's a huge challenge, and we're trying to find a solution.
Do we have any questions from that side of the room? We've had a bunch of us. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. No? Okay, well, it wouldn't be an event without Bronson asking a question. So.
All right, so, all of us here in this room are in different phases of our business growth. As you were describing with those pictures who your customers are, and you kind of even changed away from moving from a name to an identity. I was just kind of wondering, I know you have a marketing team, but do you actually sit down in whatever time you have and think, who am I trying to sell to? What image am I trying to create? Or did that change? Like in the beginning, obviously, as a business owner, you do a lot of our own, and then we have teams. Like how do you have that clarity of how you want to be your image and of the image of the people you try to sell to?
Yeah, and a lot of that's done internally because we employ all these ranges of people. We've got one boomer, that's our distiller, and now we have what's the latest generation, A, back to Alpha or whatever. We employ or actually not Alpha, because I think they're only 3 years old, but we have them all, and we try to be very collaborative, and even our cupbearers, which is our leaders table, is very diverse in both sexes, stages of life, political views, and we try to keep it that way intentionally because we need their feedback in building products for all these different audiences. So it's an ongoing. It's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing. We had this meeting yesterday. We were about to purchase new merch, and it was me, Jonathan, and another young lady that works for us that represents another audience, and we all were picking out this is the kind of merch I'm looking for, and then we take that and we put it into an order, and then we measure the results of that. We've gotten better because we've got more data over 10 years.
Well, Spencer, I really appreciate how intentional your presentation was today. I think there's a lot of takeaways for everybody here to take a step back and really evaluate what you're doing. And like Bronson said, with that marketing, it was amazing just how you were spot on with your different demographics. So thank you so much for presenting this today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being a steward of the community. You are Cherokee, so let's everybody give him a hand. Thank you for all your work.
Thank y'all. If y'all need a beer, let me know.
All right, well, save the date. March 1st is our next event. It'll be our first one in Woodstock at the circuit. I do definitely want to thank our co-ed team with Misty's inspiration with the rebrand, Christine and Hannah and Molly and Heath, everybody who's helped with the rebranding. Couldn't have done it without you. So I would like to thank them. Please give them a hand for all that they've done. Follow us. Stop following 1 Million Cups Cherokee. Don't follow that. Follow Fresh Start Cherokee now. So go ahead and load that into your phone so you know when we're having events and who our next speakers and presentations will be. I do have one quick announcement. Molly is working really hard right now on our next film summit that's coming up in March on the 16th from 5 to 9 p.m. Check out our website if you want more information, or you can talk with Molly. She's here this morning. So you can ask her about that. And there is our new website, freshstartmorningscherokee.com, or you can go to our co-ed one and it'll link you to it when you click on entrepreneurship. So thank you everybody for coming out today and your support.